Hello and welcome to Beyond the Numbers by DNV Philippines. So where we chat about the ins and outs of the finance and accounting industry. My name is Jennifer, and for our pilot episodes, we'll do a deep dive on the most overlooked steps during the outsourcing process. It's a due diligence or a proper due diligence check. So most business owners just browse around and compare one provider to another. While this sound and all, there is so much more you need to find out before moving to an outsourcing partner. So we have here today Jose and Rebecca from DNV Philippines legal team. Hi Jose, hi Rebecca. So Jose is the CFO and the head of legal and compliance department, while Rebecca here is our data privacy officer and assistant corporate secretary. So both of them are lawyers working in-house here at DNV Philippines.
Hello, Jen. Good day, Becky. Good day. And everyone, I hope you're having a good day also.
And hello as well to our listeners.
Yes, Jose and Becky. So to start, as a members of the legal and compliance team, so you have tons of experience dealing already with due diligence check. So why is it important? Why is it an important step in doing or in engaging in a outsourcing company?
Yes. Well, doing a due diligence is very important because when you are a businessman, you will deal with people or individual, or you will deal with companies, and it's better to get to know them before you engage with them or you sign contracts with them, and it also avoids risks and really prevent you from incurring issues later on as you move along with the engagement. And a part of this risk is monetary losses. Of course, as a businessman transacting or looking for a service provider, you want to know the true cost of what you're
Yes.
going into. Most of service providers would probably provide like a brochure, a list of the fees related to their service. But there are also some of them who will provide a very low fee, but in the end, you don't know that there are hidden costs involved. So you
Okay.
need to know what really is the true cost of that particular service, because once you sign the engagement, it's very hard to pull out of that engagement without incurring penalties or
Okay.
breach of contracts. So it's really very important to get to know. And I think one of the things also needed to discuss is about reputation, Becky, no?
Yes, of course. So, since we're living in the age of social media and the internet,
Yes.
it's very easy actually to check on the reputation of outsourcing provider that you want to engage. And of course, we have to know, or we have to be able to do a background check, because as a businessman, you do not want to, for example, waste your money on a supplier or an
Yeah,
outsourcing
yes, that's
provider
right.
who cannot provide the services, or there may have been issues regarding compliances in the past, or they may have a sketchy reputation. So it's very important to do your own background
Yeah.
checks, because at that early stage, these can help reveal concerning red flags. These
Okay.
can then help you to not continue with the engagement again, so as not to suffer monetary losses, as what Jose mentioned earlier.
Then we have also compliance issues, right?
Yeah. And as
Yeah.
mentioned earlier in your introduction, we're also members of our legal and compliance department.
Yes.
So we live compliances. We really check the business permits and the licenses of
Yeah, yes.
partner businesses that we want to do business with. So dealing with a partner with reputation issue is one thing, of course, but
Yeah.
when a business does not comply with the regulatory requirements of a country, then that's an entirely different thing, and it would really result in added reputational crisis for the company. That would really reflect poorly on the business as well. So we really have to be very careful in dealing with such businesses. It's always best to check and do your own background check. But of course, with these things, there may just be issues with or delays in getting the compliance requirements. So one of the tips that we can provide for these instances, and based on experience, you can always establish a good line of communication with the provider.
With the providers,
Yeah.
yes.
And then just if you are able to come to an agreement with them, if they can provide the added requirements that you set, then you can put that into writing. So everything can be settled with good communication with the
Yes.
provider.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that we discussed earlier that you're from the DNB Philippines Legal and Compliance team. So just to ask, how long have you been in the company? Kasi,
For me, I've been with DNB for the past 13 years. I started around June 2012. Very young then, in my 20s.
very young.
Yes.
Okay.
And we've seen a lot in the growth of DNB, from having just very few clients, a handful, to right now hundreds of clients.
And Attorney Becky, so you just started like 2022?
Yes,
Yeah.
I started with the company like 3 years ago, but I can say since our legal department is still relatively young, and we've had a lot of experience
Yes.
in these types of due diligence checks. Like, for example, for some of our prospect clients, they would really require us to fill out, complete their versions of their own due diligence
check.
forms.
Yeah.
So based on our experience, we can say that we definitely have some experience. Then we may have some tips that you guys may be able to
Yeah.
use when you're
Yes.
conducting your own due diligence.
Especially foreign clients that looking for a local company here in the Philippines to become their partner in providing them services.
So, how do we do it?
So we're probably discussing already our checklist. So
Yes.
one of our important checklists is you need to ask the proper documentation before signing the engagement. So here is a few things that we could probably share with them. So first, we need to establish the checklist. So one of the first thing we need to do is making sure that the documentation is complete before the engagement. So we need to know there and ask about the business permits, registration, and tax documents of the provider that you're going to engage with. So first, for the business permit, you have the local government and the national government permits. And it doesn't mean, as what Becky already said earlier, it doesn't mean if there's a delay, there's already non-compliance. It could be that the local government or the national government in charge of releasing these permits may have also delay. So
Yes.
you need to give some leeway. Like, for example, you can ask for affidavit or undertaking
So
for
you,
them to
you
comply.
need to have like an open communication
Correct.
with your vendor or
Yeah,
provider.
it need not be that you treat them immediately as an illegal
Yes.
business.
Yes, okay.
So I think that's the first one, and we have also as an accountant, I usually check the audited financial statements. So our clients sometimes check the audited financial statements, the most recent one. So we give them, of course, to the prospect, and then for them to check that we are. I think they usually check the terms of financial capacity of that
Capacity, yes.
particular client or that particular provider. That's why they ask
Okay.
for the audited financial statements.
And then, of course, it's also very important, and based on our experience, we usually ask providers to provide us with their organizational chart,
Org chart,
because we
yeah.
want to be able to know who are the directors behind the company, who are the officers, who are the shareholders, because as we mentioned, we like to dig around in the internet. So we like to look around for news. If, for example, this specific director, was there any news in the past about an issue that they faced before?
Reputation,
Or
credibility.
there may
yes,
have
yes.
been a case that they have been involved in. So you really like to dig in deeper, because as mentioned earlier, it's very important at the earliest stage to know the reputation of the provider that you're going to work with, because ultimately their reputation may also reflect on you. So we have
That's
to
right.
be sure and be certain about our providers. Then next up, we also ensure that we check for the quality control certifications, if any, of the provider. because providers with quality control certifications can give assurance
Yeah.
that they can deliver the services that they promote.
Yeah.
Because, for
Yes.
example, they mentioned that they can provide this service, and then ultimately, when the service is actually being performed, there are a lot of issues. And then we would find out that they do not have the needed certification.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this type of issue can be avoided early on if we just did
Mm-mm.
our extensive due diligence.
Yeah, and then a good thing also, if they have like ISO certifications,
Yes.
sometimes it's a very good reputational brand that you are an ISO certified company.
Yes.
So clients would sometimes choose an ISO certified company compared to another, or they have that degree of comfortability and assurance that
Yes.
because this is a certified company, then they are reliable.
Yeah.
Yes.
For international providers, for example, how do you, especially the data privacy, how do we provide like a checklist, or
Yes.
how do we do the due diligence check
Yes.
for that
Well,
one?
for due diligence regarding to data privacy, there are a lot of ways by which we can go about this. So first off, we ask the provider to provide their own data privacy policies.
Yep.
They usually have these. They have a
Correct.
separate manual for this, so we can review firsthand. And then, of course, we'll be sharing personal information or sensitive personal information. In the age of social media and the internet, our information may just be out
Out
there.
there,
We
yes.
want to keep secure because we know our responsibilities under the relevant data privacy laws. So it's very important that we know firsthand how the provider usually collects, how
Yeah,
they
how
handle,
they
how they
handle.
process,
Yeah.
and how they retain the information they collect, as well as how they dispose it. Because for the Philippines, we have our Data Privacy Act, but for other countries and internationally, we have the GDPR
Yes.
and other equivalent privacy laws. So we have to remain compliant because, for example, us here in the Philippines, we may be sharing information and then it will be crossing over to other countries. So it's very important to check that as well.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Then, of
Yeah.
course, if we are able to check further their policy, so we already discussed about their IT,
IT.
Yeah.
data privacy, security policies. It's also good to check their own company policies. For example, in this age, it's very important for employers to take care of their employees.
Employees.
So we have to check how is the physical location of the business. Are they able to provide secure business workplace for the employees, and is their mental health taken care of?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
very
For
important.
competitive
Yeah, and
enough
of
Yes.
course,
for the employees.
these companies, the providers, they wouldn't just send to you a copy of their policies. Sometimes it's good also to check their website only because in the website there's already some form of terms there that you can read, and I think probably you can check the website if there's already like an expired or it's an updated website that's really put their policy. Sometimes they have a statement or
Yes.
declaration there of their workplace, on the care for the environment,
Yes.
climate. You can see it already there.
Yes.
Yes.
And just to add there as well, of course, with the type of provider that you engage, you want to know if you are able to align with their
Correct.
beliefs and their policies.
Correct.
So at that stage, you will get to know that early on.
Yeah, our Australian clients probably are the ones who's very steadfast when they ask if we have like a what you call that anti-slavery
Yeah.
laws.
Modern
Uh-huh.
slavery.
Modern slavery,
Yes.
yes. So they're very steadfast that we provide one, and then we tell them that in the Philippines we don't have like a specific anti-slavery law, but we have it enshrined in our constitution.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, that's interesting.
Other than that, we also, or based on our experience as well, some of the prospect clients would request that we provide documentation for insurance policies.
Oh, yeah, that's one is
Yeah.
important. Most of
So,
the clients or prospects, they're asking for that already.
Yes.
Yeah.
So usually these may include for companies such as ours, some clients would request for professional indemnity insurances.
Insurance, yeah,
So that's very typical. So that in case of any issues regarding the performance of the services, then the insurance can cover
And it happens also with our own clients. As provider, DNB as a provider of outsourced service, normally before they engage with DNB, they ask this kind of insurance. They have cyber insurance, professional indemnity insurance, and if we go with medical practitioners, they ask for specific form
It's like
of
a HIPAA
insurance.
Yeah.
Then, of course, as what we always mention, we keep on mentioning as well that we like to do background checks and reputation. So, as we what we always say, we can use the internet to
To
our
check.
benefit.
Correct.
So, check up on the news, check up on the online articles and reviews, so that we can see if the provider conducts its business and manages their employees well and in accordance with what the law requires.
Yeah, and then if we develop a culture of due diligence within the company, it's not just the legal team who reads in the news. It's
Yes.
the people, the employees,
Within
they
the
could read the
company.
news.
Yeah,
So
yes.
if they are aware of this particular client or potential provider, then they themselves can read it, share it with the legal team who might probably have yet to read it. So there's a culture of being alert.
Yes. And also, this next step is also very important because in the Philippines, we now have a lot of natural disasters and crises.
Yes.
For example, the recent earthquakes, and then we have the
Earthquakes,
recent
typhoons.
typhoons.
Yeah.
So, we have to check with the provider what is their business continuity plan if in case such
Yeah.
natural disasters happen, so that
Yeah.
we know even if such disasters would happen, the business can still continue. Although probably the business can continue by working from home for the employees
Yep, yeah.
or other business continuity
Yeah,
plans
and
that they have.
the business continuity plan, as I think what have been reported in the news, it doesn't need to endanger the safety of your employees. I think
Employees.
in the last earthquake in Cebu, I think there are news that employees in some businesses there are prevented from going out of the building.
I think they
Yeah?
locked them inside
Correct.
the office.
So the business continuity plan should ensure the safety of the employees.
Yes, that's important. Okay, so before we end our pilot episode for today, so maybe we can ask again, both of you, what are your key takeaways in this discussion?
Yeah, of course, we've discussed the checklist that we would like for the entity to have and for the individuals. I think a good thing also to consider is if you have time and money, you can visit the location of the would-be or the supposed service provider potential, so that you can see the actual site and also the face of you, the people you're going to deal with.
Yes.
During the early days of DNB, a lot of our potential clients would visit our office. We're just very small, 5 members, the original 5 accountants, and a few admin personnel. So they would visit us. They know that we are true persons. We're not just virtuals or robots. And they got to see the owner of the business. So that's I think the simplest thing of due diligence, as I said during that time.
Yes.
Then we can have also, Becky, right? The
Of course,
summarization.
what we always mention, we kept on mentioning earlier, to establish an open line of communication with the provider. Because there may be, along the way of conducting your due diligence, of course, you may have a lot of clarificatory questions, particularly if that provider will be performing a huge chunk of services. So you have to be able to know and be able to contact them and be transparent with your needs. Because with that, we can only hope that they will also be transparent in their communication with us.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for that, Jose and Rebecca. We have actually prepared an outsourcing due diligence checklist available now, so you can download it. So thanks for helping us do this white
we're
paper.
very
Yeah.
happy if it's our opportunity to help. So we're very
Yes.
happy.
Okay, so there you have it. Keep in mind that outsourcing engagement should help improve your business processes, not to make things harder for you and your team. So conducting a proper due diligence check will help you choose the right outsourcing partner as you begin your outsourcing journey. If you enjoyed our today's episode, be sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or check our social media channels. Thank you again to our first guest in our first podcast episode. So till our next episode here at Beyond the Numbers by DNV Philippines.
Yeah.